Hello and welcome to QED NG. Today I'm not going to waste time to introduce you to my guest. He's someone a lot of you know. Uncle PD.
Sir.
Welcome to QED NG.
Thank you very much.
A lot of people, other people call you Patrick Doyle, but I call you Uncle PD.
No wahala.
Okay, so Uncle PD is a filmmaker, he's a broadcaster, MC, he's also, what else again? A man of God.
Amen.
And a lot of other things. Okay, so you've seen him in films like Isoken.
Yeah, Isoken.
I've seen you in Oloture.
Yes.
King of Boys.
Castle and Castle.
Castle and Castle. The Black Book.
The Black Book. Okay.
And many others. You know, Wikipedia said that in the 90s, you used to play roles like Reverend and Pastor. Mm-hmm. But I've noticed that these days, I've been seeing you in roles like that of Sir Phillips, Senator Dipo. And what you do these days, what I see you do these days are not what you used to do those days. So what happened?
Nothing happened. In those days, because the filmmakers of those days were not as sophisticated as they are today, they had this knack of typecasting persons, especially if you did it well once. For instance, Nkemowo is a great actor with range, but Nkemowo did drunkard well once, and they stereotyped him into that role of, drunkard and village clown. So that was the trend then, because of the caliber of filmmakers who, to their credit, we owe them a debt of gratitude for opening up the motion picture industry in Nigeria and by extension in Africa. But they were not the most cerebral group of people. So typecasting was something that they relished doing. I did Pastor in one role well once, and every other person wanted me. Every time they needed a pastor in a role, they called on me. But as you can see, I have always been able to do more than pastor. So the caliber of filmmakers we have now are a bit more sophisticated in their approach to filmmaking, and therefore they've given me the latitude to express myself beyond the confines of the pastor role.
Okay. So, but of all these roles, which will you say you are more comfortable with?
To be honest, doing the bad man role was very exciting. Being the villain was exciting for me because it was not something that I was used to. But the role that I personally like the most is the role of the father, like in Isoke. That fatherly, very patriarchal role, good guy, father taking care of his children and dishing out sound advice. That role is a role that I particularly like for myself, but they have been far and few and in between.
Let me go back to you. And I didn't say this at the beginning. You started broadcasting about 40 years ago, if not more.
44.
44. You started with Voice of Nigeria.
Voice of Nigeria.
You were with NTA.
Yes.
Then you Silverbird and a lot of others.
Yes.
Right. The last time I spoke to you, when I spoke to you last week, and I must thank you for even agreeing to do this interview with me. I called you once and you said you were coming. I must thank you specially for that.
Not a problem.
Now, but there's a joke that you also said to me that, Olumide, I am less busy these days. That's the word you use.
That's the word I use.
Why do you say you are less busy?
I'm less busy because, how do I say it? Acting work is far and in between. There's few and in between, far and in between. And it's not because I don't want the roles. It's because maybe at my demographic, only certain roles are called for only so often. It's a new world. It's a world for the young people, for the Toby Bakaris. You understand? The stories are more contemporary and more tilted to suit them. But that's not saying that people in my demographic are not busier than me. But in my case, I do not possess the social skills to, how do I say it? I'm not as sociable as I ought to be, or as I once was. So the mingling in the circles where my professional colleagues mingle, I'm just not attracted to those places, and the ambience does not agree with me, which it's not anybody's fault. There's nothing wrong with the ambience. It's just that I have gotten to a point in my life where being at certain places and being seen is not fitting and proper, in my opinion, for me. There's nothing wrong with those places. There's nothing wrong with going to a nightclub, for instance. But I don't see myself in a nightclub. There's nothing wrong with many things. I have nothing against it. It's just that I have seen myself beyond it. I've been there, done that, got the T-shirts. Let me rest now. You understand? So that's the reason. It's not that I'm being discriminated upon. Maybe I'm being a little bit too discriminating. That is what's responsible for my being less busy.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you say that you are not a particularly social person. Seeing Sir Phillips in Oloture doesn't convey that kind of person.
We're acting there now. We're acting there. You see, whilst I was doing it, you see, because let me tell you why I said that I prefer the fatherly rule now. I am of a persuasion now where I hate iniquity. I'm not being sanctimonious here. I was there. While we were filming it, there was a lot of smooshing going on. I, quote unquote, raped someone there. For me, it was work, because I also knew that the character was going to get a comeuppance. You know, so I will console myself with the fact that, yeah, you can do a bad guy role, but the bad guy is going to get his comeuppance, so that you can tell him, say, this is what you get when you do that. That I can use that to console myself and say, but in reality, I don't like being in places where debauchery is taking place, where iniquity abounds. I used to be there. I was chief amongst the revelers. You get what I mean? But it's no longer, I don't see myself there anymore. You understand? So, but when it's time to act and there are bills to be paid, I will do it. And I will find a way to console or justify it. Okay, I'm doing this thing because this man then go kill him for the thing where he do. I say, okay, it's a lesson to be learned by young people. But you and I know that it's for the paycheck. You understand? But really, if I could help, I'd like to get to a point where I don't even have to do that anymore. I'll wait for the Socken script. You understand? I think that's where I am now. I'm waiting for the Socken, the nice daddy and the grandpa role.
Or man of God role.
Or man of God role, or some nice KBAC doing, you know, Olujokos became Igwe. Okay.
Have you not played the KBAC role before?
As a matter of fact, recently I did in a Yoruba film, but it was also a bad KBAC. But the film will be out soon. I think it's called Ogidonbirin. It will be out soon. I played KBAC, and a lot of people were wondering whether my Yoruba would be good enough for the role. I will tell them to wait and see the movie and decide whether or not the Yoruba was good enough. Unfortunately, the producers were saying no. They want it amolumala, you know, like small Yoruba, small English, that this KBC was learned, so he will be interspersing his, and even the chiefs in the KBC palace who were core Yoruba actors like Jide Kosoko and Ogabelu, they made them, apparently most of the Yoruba films now, there's a lot of English mixed, you know, which I was a little bit disappointed. I said, no, let's get down to it. So kudos to Bolanle Austin Peters for her Bashoruga, which was historic, so the Yoruba had to be sound.
How would you describe your Yoruba?
I am a Shekiri. We're Yoruba-speaking people. We speak original Yoruba. You understand? This is what you people speak is contemporary Yoruba, but we speak Ofore, the real Ofo. So speaking Yoruba should not be. If a boy who grew up in Ijebu-Ode speaking Ijebu dialect, you know what I mean, can adapt to speaking colloquial Yoruba, why should a Shekiri man not be able to adapt and speak colloquial Yoruba?
Okay, this question, music and filmmaking now.
Yeah.
In response to an award given to Thames recently, Best Gospel and Inspirational something at the BET Awards, you said that, I mean, you expressed a strong opinion about it, and you concluded by saying that it will seem as if the entertainment mafia is in the grip of Satan.
That's not news. That's not news.
I know it's not news. Now, you are in a business that is in the grip of Satan. Is there a conflict? Do you see that as a conflict?
No, there's no conflict in it, because I have a duty to occupy. My mandate is to occupy till Jesus comes. The entertainment industry is, for the most part, in the grip of Satan. But how do I say, there will always be, I am the salt of the earth. I'm not going to run away from the entertainment industry because it's in the grip of Satan. I'm going to go there and do what I'm supposed to do and be an example. That is the mandate that I have. My mandate is to go into the world. The entertainment industry is the world. I will go into it. I will maintain my dignity, and I will show that it is possible. Just like Jesus Christ came into this sinful world and showed that it was possible to be sinless in a sinful world. So I'm not afraid of Satan. I'm not going to retreat because Satan is controlling what ordinarily should not belong to him. But what has happened is that people we've given ground to people of very, very loose morals and loose. We've given ground to evil people to occupy that space. And we have a duty to take it back. We may not succeed in taking it back until Jesus comes, but let it not be said that we were sucked into it. That's why I told you now that, for instance, I am beginning to reconsider doing manifestly evil roles. The caveat I will give is that I could do the role, but it has to be in that story that there's some kind of redemptive value. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, good has to triumph over evil. Because you cannot tell a story, you know what I mean? That a story has to have the good, the bad, and the ugly. But for me, a good ending would be that at the end of the day, good triumphed over evil. So that on that score, doing a quote unquote evil role, I will not rule it out. But it's important to me that a message be told through the entire work. That piece of art has to have some redemptive value. So that's where I stand on that.
Okay. So you said earlier that you've been there, you've done that, and you got the T-shirts. When did this happen to you? When did that turn around? When did your Damascus experience happen?
No, you see, it's not. It's something. It's for instance. 5 years ago, if I would have enjoyed. It's not a one-time thing. You begin to, as you evolve, you begin to see something and say, no, let's leave this alone. It's not a one-time. But if you're asking about when did I have my conviction to be a born-again Christian, there's a particular year where that took place.
What year was that?
1987. But between 1987 and now, I still bought the T-shirt. I went there You know, you understand? I'm just saying that it's a walk. It's a journey. And between 1987 and now, there were things that I did in 1989 that I shrink when I remember those things. That's post 1987. There are things I did in 1995, which is post 1987, which when I remember them, I just say, aye. You understand what I'm saying? But as I said, I can look back at them and do, but it's not with regret, and it's not with, if anything, some of them I even laugh at it. You've come a long way, well done. You know what I mean? But there's still much to be done. Like now, I'm still justifying doing the bad guy role. I'm justifying it. I'm telling you, I know. It's called Awawi. You understand? I'm going to get to a point now where that will no longer suffice, and it's just going to be, okay, if no rule, take it away. I don't want. You understand? I'm looking forward to getting to that conviction. So I'm just saying, it's not a one-time, one-size-fits-all. You grow into these things, and as I said, before now, I made a statement. I said, I hate iniquity. 2 years ago, I would never be able to say that. So how can you say that? There is still iniquity in my existence. It still exists. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm announcing my hatred for it, even in advance of my conquering that iniquity. Do you understand what I'm saying? But so as I said, I've grown to the point where I can announce it. You get what I mean? And there's no devil that's going to say, hey, well, hate iniquity. She be, you understand? She be walker. You can't do me, I be walker. What you saw, I hate iniquity. You understand? I love righteousness. There was a time in my Christian walk, I wouldn't be able to say that, just, I hate iniquity, one man, if one share. Do you understand what I'm saying? But now, as I said, it's a progressive walk, and I'm glad that I'm going to the point where I cannot go back. You understand? Nobody's going to take me. You understand? So I'm at the point of no return. As they say in Latin, iwaju.
You're quite beating racist. Okay, now, let me get a bit personal. Now, in 2018, you wrote this thing on Facebook. I'm not going to go into what, why, and certain things, but you said about you and an apology that you've done something wrong, that you're in a doghouse and stuff like that. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. Why did you write that?
Why not? Why not?
It was an apology to your ex-wife.
Don't husbands apologize to their wives?